Truths, tell us about Truths.
Yeah, so Truths is a weekly debate show that is on Instagram every Monday, and it's a chance for people to use the platform to discuss about stuff going on, topics regarding predominantly in relationships, looking at pros and cons, trying to share experiences that people have had, and just being truthful. And it's like being raw, like literally just not holding back on the experience that they had, how they've overcome it, and a way to kind of like communicate people that may have had similar experiences. And there's no judgment there, like there's no like embarrassment to feel like, oh, you know, I've got this in my relationship that went wrong, I didn't know how to get out of it, I felt this way in this relationship. And you notice that a lot of people have that similar experience. So it kind of was born nearly 2 years ago during the major lockdown. And what made me do it is because I feel like personal experience for me in relationships, I've always seen like where does it go wrong, like, and I think I learned through Truths not just to say, okay, where did that person go wrong, but to take accountability for what I do. And I think as adults sometimes we kind of struggle to do that. It's so much easier to blame the other person, to know where they went wrong and how they did that person wrong, but what about your part into it, you know? So it's just kind of like showing where you can learn from your not mistakes, but your experiences and how you can build from that.
And what does accountability mean to you?
I think accountability means of like understanding your growth, understanding where you've come from, understanding how you got there, understanding your next steps, kind of thing. I think it's also taking into account to kind of forgive, not only for others but also forgive yourself, because I think sometimes when people don't forgive themselves, they block their blessings. So it's taking accountability for where you played your part and understanding that element of it, understanding what might have made you trigger or get upset about something, because you can't control like what other people do, but you can have control of what you do, kind of thing. But it's understanding like where in that between do I take the level of accountability for myself and how I move forward from that.
So for you, what's been your experience of accountability? What has that been like? Did you want to take accountability at first? That's a key one, actually.
That's a good one. Do you know what? If you'd asked me this question like 2 years ago, probably not. I probably would have been admittedly like saying, oh, it's the guy's fault, like they did me wrong. But in the past 2 years, I've understood by just like doing Truths, learning from different experiences, which was similar to mine, understood that actually I decided to stay in that relationship. Like there were times where, you know, where people use the term red flags. There were loads of red flags that I see, but I decided to ignore them. Even though in my head I knew something was wrong, I tried to follow as my heart, and sometimes it's not always right to follow your heart in all aspects, because if you lead with your emotion, that can kind of lead you into the wrong kind of avenue that you're not meant to be there. And sometimes, like with a relationship or anything that you get involved in, there's a time period. So it's knowing when that time period is up, and it's a chapter. Like your life is like a book, so it's knowing to know when that chapter is finished, and then to move on to that next one.
Can you identify for yourself like when that moment was of change, like when you
will notice that?
Normally there's like a moment that makes you go, oh shit, like.
Yeah, I think just taking a step back and just analysing relationships that I was in, encounters or everything that I was in, whether it's not even just to do with a man, but also with friendships as well. Just understanding like, okay, what did I do? like, was I too like giving? Because I'm quite a caring person, I quite be like a giving person. But sometimes if you're too much of a giving person, it's like people expect that from you at all time. So when it comes to a point where you think, actually, I need a break, like, people are not expecting you, because if you're in a social group and you're the person in the group that's always like the bubbly one and always the fun one, they're expecting you to be like that 24/7. But as a person, you naturally get tired. You naturally think, you know what, I just need to woos up for a bit. So I think it's just seeing where lockdown showed like who your friends really are, like who's really there for you. Because I think everyone could be there when it's happy times, but when things are not going so good, like, you see which kind of people are there for you and genuinely are there for you, not because they want to know, alright, well, when's the next party, like, or what's this happening, it's genuinely just checking, like, to see how you're doing. So I think it's just knowing like who's contacting you for the sake of contacting you, or is there a motive behind it. So I think, yeah, that kind of made me think, okay.
So was that, did you find yourself like distancing yourself from certain individuals, or?
Yeah, it made me look at how I like deal with people, and knowing how far to like give like love or care to a person, and just kind of calculate, because you know, a few people used to say like, you calculate people, you've got your friends, you've got your family, you've got associates. And I never ever knew what that meant. And I thought, associates, what do you mean? Like, for me, like, if I meet a person and we click, we vibe, like, you're my friends. But I got it to the point where you can't call everyone for them to tell everything about you. Do you know what I mean? Because not everyone you can literally trust. You can't always look at someone and think, yeah, I can trust them. Because, you know, you can't judge a face by its cover. Do you know what I mean? And I'm always that type of person, like, yeah, that person's cool, but they may be cool to an extent of what you can or they can do for you or you can do for them, kind of thing. You might look at them and think they're a cool person, but they might not be compatible with you in a relationship. They may not be compatible with you as what you class as a good friend. And also just understanding that's okay as well, because I think it's okay for someone to not be compatible with you because they can be compatible with someone else. I don't think you should blame someone if they don't want to be with you as well, because everyone should be entitled to be with who they want.
I think that's a big thing, because people are so inclined to control that they end up not really, as you were saying, like getting the blessings from that experience. Yeah. They just think, oh, well, I need to control it. I couldn't control them. I'll ban them.
Yeah.
So you're obviously having these conversations. How were the conversations happening online? Like, were they going?
Sometimes like people will go like deep in. When I do the truths, I kind of be like neutral. I try not make my personal opinions kind of waver like what the guests I'm speaking to say. There's been times like I kind of be like, you know, but I try to not make it like, yeah, you can't say that. Do you know what I mean? Unless they're saying something really like disrespectful. And to be fair, I'm kind of been lucky it's not really happened where they've been like said anything that's like really like racist or stuff that you think, okay, like, yeah, I've got to cut off this life. So no one's not really gone beyond that point. But there has been where you can tell when people has been triggered, because they might have touched somewhere in that discussion where I've been speaking with someone, and then people on the live will be putting, you know, comments and think, oh, like, why would you say that? And what do you mean by that? And like really getting defensive about it. And then people will ring me after that live, like, why did you allow them to speak? And I think, well, that's their truths. And that's what it's about.
Do you feel like people in this society can speak their truth?
They can, and I think some people do, but people do get easily offended as well. So it's finding that balance. And I think sometimes people avoid speaking their truth because they think, okay, what are people going to view me as? What are people going to look at it as me if I speak this way, if I say, well, this is what I like to do and this is who I am, kind of thing. Am I going to be judged because of that? And then some people might speak the truth and don't care who they may offend. Do you see what I'm saying? So again, it's finding that balance, because for me it's like, if someone says, you know what, I've got 5 baby mothers and I've got this, that, and this is me, and I don't care what anybody, I would more respect that person than the person that's saying, well, do you know what, it is what it is, and then not being truthful. And you're like, why are you not saying what you're saying? Because you can tell when a person might be just doing it to just get likes or get noticed, where actually someone genuinely being like, this is who I am, kind of thing. Like, I've messed up, but I've learned from it. And yeah, I just think people always kind of look upon what other people think. That's why when I always start truth, it's like, there's no judgment here. Do you know what I mean? Everyone should feel comfortable to be in their own skin and talk out, because everybody has got flaws. Nobody's perfect, and it's just acknowledging that.